So, don't really know where to start, I guess. It's 92 GMC. Little single cab short bed action going on. You know, it's got a 350 small block with a 700 R4. Obviously, it's in a little bit of a disarray thanks to these over here. Now, if you have one of these old, lovely Chevy clap boxes, you know that these rust out pretty quick, pretty often on these old trucks. Kind of a common issue. I went to take this off. I cut it off when I did my transmission. I had bolts on my torque converter come loose. So I decided that instead of cutting this cross pipe back out, which was absolute pain to get back in, I recommend not doing that, because if you don't have the right pipe or, you know, the right space to weld it, you're never going to get it back in. We were holding pry bars and all that fun jazz to it. But obviously, you see it's all hooked up back through there. But I got two of these out. On the driver's side, one of them snapped off. The passenger side, all of them snapped off. Not a good time, because kind of on a deadline. I want to get this thing running by like the 27th of May, because there's a end of school thing we're doing, like car, truck, tractor show for, and you know, I'd like to have it there. It ran fine before I decided to take it all apart, as the rims are going back on it at some point. Right now it's sitting on some stocks and some junky tires I got my hands on for the time being, because those are kind of junk. Need new mud tires. But anyway, where we're at with this at this point, now hit my head on the frame, is I am drilling out the center of that flange stud, because I'm hoping it'll relieve some tension off the threads. I'm just using some kind of like tools I got laying around, a little propane torch to heat things up when I go to loosen it. Went to my local Harbor Freight and grabbed a set of nut and bolt extractors, which work, I guess, okay for this. Probably be better off with internal extractors, but since I'm drilling them out. But these should do the job. If not, I do have a set of external extractors, but we'll see where this gets me. I'm going to continue to drill the center of that out, and I'll get right back to you. Well, I got it drilled the whole way through. I heated it up a little bit. I'm going to put heat back on it here. But I got an extractor bead onto it that is much tighter than the last one that's stripped out. So I'm going to throw some more heat on it and see where I get with it. We're just heating her up a while here, and if you're using a propane torch like I am, this process could take quite some time. They do not burn that hot. MAP gas would be a lot better, and by tenfold in acetylene torch would make your life a walkthrough on this. You honestly probably wouldn't even need this video if you had an acetylene torch, because you just heat it up and back them out. But this is doing it on a budget. I don't have an acetylene torch, and I don't have anything really all that fancy to do fancy stuff. So my next go on this is going to be, if this doesn't work, I'm going to go weld a nut on it. We do have a stick welder around the corner. So worst comes to worst, I'll weld a nut on it and back it out that way. The drilling out and heating did not work. It ended up just rounding off the stud more with the easy out. So I went and grabbed my, there we go, grabbed my set of, there's a couple missing. They're not important. We're working with the ones up here for now. Find those eventually. I think one's actually, I grabbed it off my desk at the house. For some reason it was laying there. That is that one. Anywho, went and grabbed that, we're going to cut on the, oh boy, let me roll back under here. So as you can see, that won't line up. Regardless, drill bit goes the whole way through that stud. So what I'm going to do is cut here and cut over here and hopefully leave some more tension off this that it'll move. And if that works, I'm going to do it with the other 3 out there. The gaskets that go in these 350s, I don't have one laying here, thought there was, but they're donut gaskets. They don't seal out this area, they seal right here around this lip. So you're able to get away with cutting into these parts of the flanges. So I'm going to do that and we'll get right to you. So we got them cut pretty good. Now you want to knock at let me get back to regular zoom. You want to get yourself a screwdriver or a pry bar or something up in there and knock that chunk that I got cut out of it. I'm going to knock that out, and then I'm going to go ahead and shove one of my internal easy outs up in there and try to back her out. Hopefully when cutting that out, it relieves some tension off of this and I can get it backed out. If it works on these right here, then I'm going to move over to that side, which has all 3 of them wienered up because I didn't take my time when taking them off. But on the bright side, I have new studs to go in both sides, so I'm going to go ahead and get this knocked out, and I'll resume whenever I got an easy out shoved up in there. So, fun fact, no matter how hard you beat on that, if it ain't cut the whole way through, it ain't going to budge. So, when it does cut the whole way through, it tends to just throw the little chunk that you cut out wherever the hell. That's what just happened to me. Scared the absolute shit out of me. So be aware of that. Alright, so good progress. With that chunk knocked out of there, we can bring enough pressure off of those threads to back that boy right on out of there. So what we're going to do is rinse and repeat with the other side with the other 3 bolts. Get the new header studs in, get the exhaust thrown up on. Need to go grab a torque wrench from the house because I'm currently on the farm. But go ahead and just take it right on out of there. And the threads aren't bitched up on it, but they were pretty rusty. So what I'm going to do is turn the flash off for one. This is all being recorded on my phone, so bear with me until, I figure out if this stuff's going to take off a little more. If, these videos do well, then I'll look, to getting some better filming equipment. I don't need in this side. What did I come over here for? I do need in this side. Man, my head wasn't attached to my shoulders, we'd be in danger. Came to grab these right here. Got all new studs, and also ran to the local... Okay, that's enough out of you. Be quiet. Thank you. Ran to the local surplus store, and they have taps for like $1 a piece. So I grabbed 2 3/8 by 16 taps for just, to be safe, so I can run them up through. And why does it look like I'm missing a stud? Regardless, it's laying here somewhere. Maybe. It was laying here somewhere. Anyway, I'm going to run these taps up through quick. Just to be safe, I'd rather run them up through quick and make sure the threads are fit before I go shoving new hardware up in there. But, yeah. We're going to get these set up in here. we'll be able to get that shoved back up in, torque the flex plate to the torque converter, and yeah, I'll pick back up once I am started on getting these studs thrown up in. I get them all up in. I'll pick back up whenever I cut the other side out. So after a bit of trial and error, we got it figured out. One of the new studs is in. I get the other two in. I somehow misplaced one of them. I think I know where it's at. I gotta run back to the house quick again. But I got a process for doing them. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our handy dandy metal blade, cut them suckers out, kinda like we did with this one. I don't know if you can shove it up in there. Can see, you just kinda cut it however you can get the blade in there. The way I did it in this angle probably is the best, because this will be able to catch decent threads and not, strip out or something when you're trying to put it in, or not, hold tight enough. But you have 3 of them, so, just keep in mind, you have to have enough there to be able to catch threads and hold up your Y pipe and however much of your pipe you have being supported off of your springs and stuff. So, process is cut them out with this. Maybe give them a little bit of heat, because I was heating that one on and off for a little bit. And then pound your easy out in, which I am using a 5/32 easy out. I got a 5/32 drill bit that I'm taking up through the center of them, all the way through, putting heat on it. I don't think I need to do that next time. I'll just drill them out a little bit, shove the easy out in, and take the Sawzall and cut here. Not in that order. Drill the hole, Sawzall here, easy out, back it out, and that's the process. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the rest of these in, and I'll pick back up when I got all these in, and I'm started on the other side. Just for now, so I don't lose them, I'm going to go ahead and put my nuts and my springs. I'm just sitting on the studs. Just run the studs in until they bottom out. I didn't look up a torque spec. I kind of just went until they got tight. You don't want to overdo it with these, because if they snap off again, you're going to be kicking yourself in the knee, or however you want to phrase that. Kick yourself in the ass. Because a lot of times, AutoZone or your local auto parts store isn't holding on to these. I was lucky. My AutoZone near me, which is where I ended up getting these. You can get them off Jegs or Summit or wherever, but for me, it just made sense to get them off AutoZone. I had my 20 rewards points saved up and everything, so it saved me a couple bucks. But I got one of these sets I got the day I walked in. Well, I'd called in the day before to see if they had them or could get them by the next morning. And I got 2 Doughnut gaskets and one of these sets of studs. And then I think I ended up waiting 2 days from when I got all these to get my second set of studs. So that all worked out. But if you plan on doing this, make sure you have all the stuff to do it before you tear everything apart. Because when you tear it apart, you're kind of stuck to open headers, which isn't good for... I mean, you can run them, but it's not good for these 350s to be ran open headers all the time. You can do it in a pinch, but doing it long term with no back pressure behind it can damage them pretty bad. But yeah, this side's done. Now I'm just moving over to that side, which is not going to be as fun because, yeah, I mean, you can see why. It is the next day. I ended up running out of time running out of Sawzall blades last night, or we'd be here already. Speed up your process. You'll want to, if they're tight, you'll see I have right there, and right there. I took and cut a chunk out of this outer because, like I said earlier, your gasket goes in here. It doesn't go out here on this flat. So you can get away with cutting stuff as long as you don't cut too much. Also got a cheap little flashlight here to help with seeing stuff because the big light behind me isn't much help. But I got an extractor pounded on this one. I tried drilling that one out and getting an extractor in it. Don't do that. Makes for a bad day. So probably gonna have to drill that one out completely and retap it. That one I'm hoping, this one here, I'm hoping to get one of these beat down on, and this one's moving. I actually got it to come free here. Threw a little bit of heat on it with a propane torch, and she's moving free as can be. So just copy and paste the heating and beating stuff together over and over onto the other two, and we'll be set. I'll be right with you whenever I get all those, which won't, it'll be right with you. It'll be a couple minutes for you. For me, it's going to be probably the next 2 hours. So I got all three of them out. This one is not going to start back in because I had to drill it out completely and try to run a tap through it. It is just barely too big of a diameter for the tap for this size to work. So I will be needing to buy at least one header. I'll probably go to my local junkyard and grab one if I don't end up putting long tubes on it. For me, this is a temporary fix, but for you, this may be a permanent fix thing. And if it is, I recommend being very careful if you need to drill these out. In fact, I recommend taking them off the truck. I just didn't because I'm kind of on a time crunch. So I got 2 of these back in, which will hold it for all the more I'm going to be driving it. I'm just driving it to an end-of-year school event thing, and because our school does like a car, truck, tractor show, and I got put in charge of it this year. But anyhow, I got these in. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Y pipe up on here after I go through, and I got to torque these again. They work themselves loose, and that's what was making noise for me. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Y pipe on, but as far as that goes, so I went and got these old studs out that I broke off, put new ones in. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the end of, I guess it would be a tutorial, because those sides all sitting up on there with the springs and the fancy new stuff. Got all them out pretty easy. This side was a little worse. Would have been a lot better if I'd had more space here to get into these, but it kind of is what it is at this point. But yeah, hopefully this helps somebody.